Good morning, Facebook. Here's today looking at Psalms chapter 51, looking at verses 1 through 2. And you see this psalm, it's so famous because it stems from one of David's greatest sins. You see what ended up happening. David's sitting on this rooftop, and as he looks over, he sees the woman Bathsheba bathing. You see, he had the choice to do what was right in God's eyes, to look away and get off that roof. But he chose to entertain that thought. Just a little peek ain't gonna hurt. Just a little view is not going to hurt nothing whatsoever. And you see, the more he compromised, the more he justified his sin, you see that how that guided, how that led to the next step that he would take, how he invited that woman over to his house. And you see the next word he gets that this woman is pregnant. And he finds out that not only is she married, but she's married to his best friend Uriah. So the next thing he does, he comes up with this plan to restore the peace that he once had in the presence of God. So what he does, he has Uriah the Hittite come back from war, and his plan is to deceive him, get him drunk, and maybe he'll go and lay with his wife, so that way we can say the baby is his. There's no way my hand was involved. David's thinking this is foolproof. I can cover my own sin. I can bring about the peace in my own life. And you see, when Uriah looked at David and said, I'm not going to sleep with my wife knowing my men are at war, that plan just blew up in his face. But you see, David, he has this another plan. He says to himself, I'll write a letter to my generals, tell them then to put Uriah in the midst of the heated and greatest part of the battle. And when he's there, when the fighting is at its worst, to back away. And when Uriah is dead, he's thinking to himself, I'm scot-free. There's no longer any pain. The peace that I once had in my life is once again restored because I don't have this problem. I don't have this chaos. But you see, David realized that did not restore any peace, but rather it made chaos much greater in his life. He had more pain than he could ever imagine. But you see, as Psalm 51 picks up here in verses 1 through 2, you see David comes to a realization here, a strong realization and revelation from God that the pain and the agony that he's feeling, how he's depressed, he gets no joy out of everything that he does in his life. It is not because of a situation. It is not because of a struggle. It is surely not because of the hand of God. It is because of David. David is David's source of pain. The reason why you are hurting, the reason why you are struggling is not the struggle. It's the fact that you've looked away from God. It's just like when Peter decided to look away from Christ as he's walking on that water. You see, Peter sank not because of the storm, but because he took his eyes off Christ, off that one true anchor. And you see, so often that's what happens to us. We sink in our finances, we sink in our struggles for that very same reason, because we look away from God and we look to see what we can do. But here's we start our day. Can we look and remember what God has done for us?